Hey there, Sit and Spin fans. Don't mind the shaky cam. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the show. I'm your host, Joe. Joining me tonight, Norm the Sleepy Wonder Mutt. He won't be saying much. But what a great week for new music this week. Lots of cool records to choose from. So many good records, new records from Black Sabbath and a lot of other bands. I went with two that I've been very much looking forward to. Two bands, one that got their start in the 90s, one that got their start in the 80s, but I've been waiting for both these records to come out. We'll kick it off with the band that's playing in the background now. It's a new release from Jimmy Eat World. The album's called Damages. It's their first record on RCA Records. Before that, the band was on Interscope, and before that, briefly DreamWorks, which got absorbed into Interscope, and Capitol Records before that. Like their 2001 breakthrough album, Bleed American, the band self-financed this record and then just kind of shopped it around to see who they could get a deal with, and they ended up signing to RCA. This record was produced with the band with Lane Johannes, who's a guy I've long admired, guitarist and singer for the bands What Is This and then 11, frequent collaborator with Queens of the Stone Age and all their side projects. He was also on the Sound City soundtrack. So when I found out he was doing this record with them, I was even more excited about it because I dig that guy's work so much. This album, not really breaking any new ground, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're a Jimmy Eat World fan, I don't know why you wouldn't like this record. It's a mature breakup album, as the band have deemed it, but there's still a real sweetness to the sound, a lot of upbeat pop songs. It's kind of a shorter record for the band. There's not even a song that's over 5 minutes long, but there's still a sunniness to the album, even though it's a record about breakups and stuff. Great tracks on it. The title track, Damage, is playing right now. It's one of my favorites. The next tune, Lean, I like quite a bit. And you could throw a dart anywhere on this record and hear some great stuff. Not reinventing the wheel, but good stuff. And I definitely like it better than their last album, Invented, which took me a little while to warm up to. But this one, solid out of the gate, boys. Home run, kids. The next record we're going to be talking about is the new one from the band, the Goo Goo Dolls. It's their new album, Magnetic. Like Jimmy Eat World, this is their first album in 3 years. The last ones came out in 2010. And boy, what a trip the Goo Goo Dolls have made. Hard to believe how far they've come from their early punk and metal roots back in 1987 when their debut album featured songs like Don't Beat My Ass with a Baseball Bat, very Ramones-inspired type lyric. That was exactly what drew me to them in the first place. And back then, Robbie Takak, on the first album, he was the main lead singer for the band. John Resnick hadn't started out singing. But eventually he came in and took over, and the band slowly evolved from their punk and metal roots and became more of an alternative band and then more of a pop rock band. And now they're more of an adult contemporary pop band. I didn't think the Goos could get more mellow than they had been in the past few years. But this record, if I have any one negative thing to say about it, it's just that it could have used a little bit more edge to it. Barring that aside, though, still great songs. And when it comes down to it, that's all that really matters to me. And Johnny Resnick and Robbie Takak write great pop songs. And I don't care if they are more pop than rock. They're still great songs, and that's what I love about them. And I'll be damned if the album's lead-off single, Rebel Beat, wasn't stuck in my head all the ding-dang day to day. It's catchy, and that's what the rest of the record's like, too. There's definitely going to be at least 2 or 3 solid surefire hits off this record. I did like their last album, Something for the Rest of Us, a little bit better than I like this, but granted, I've only been listening to this for a couple of days, so it's going to take a little while to grow on me. The last one had the benefit of the fact that it came out when I was holed up for a week on crutches from knee surgery, and I was bedridden for like 3 days and really couldn't do too much, so I listened to that album a lot, and it kind of sunk in a little deeper. Again, Robbie gets in his requisite 2 songs with Bringing on the Light and Happiest of Days. The rest of the tunes are by John. It's a real solid effort, though. And I would be remiss not to mention my friend, the late Crystal Carter, when I'm talking about the Goo Goo Dolls, because Crystal worked for Warner Brothers Records and was a big Goo Goo Dolls fan. And in fact, she was very instrumental back in 1995 in helping get the band broken through. She was one of the people that championed for the song Name to get released off of their 1995 album, A Boy Named Goo. And that's when pretty much most people kind of really first came to be aware of the Goo Goo Dolls. And if it wasn't for her, and people like her, they never would have broke as big as they did. Crystal, miss you. Hope you're up there in heaven. I hope you can hear this album and you're digging it too. I definitely am. And as long as Goo Goo Dolls keep cranking out great music, even if they're ballads, I'm down with it because John Resnick writes great ballads, man. But those are my 2 picks for the week. A lot of the great stuff that came out this week, new records from Black Sabbath, and so many things, I can't even remember them all. But lots of definitely good things you should go out to the record stores and check out this week. Next week, hopefully I have something really cool. I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to jinx it, and if it falls through, then nobody will be disappointed. But I've got a couple concerts I'm going to, and hopefully that will work out into something that might transpire next week. If not, c'est la vie. I'll still enjoy the shows anyway. And we'll catch you next time on Sit and Spin. Thanks for tuning in. Check you later.